Hey folks, welcome back. Chris in Birmingham, Alabama once again. An update on a conference that took place decades after African countries achieved liberation and independence from colonial powers. Now these bum-hurt, corrupt leaders of many of these countries want to get together and hold a liberation movements summit. To what end? To liberate from what? These countries are all free. The last of them was Namibia in 1989. That's decades ago. The ANC, technically 1994, I guess you could argue South Africa was the last one. But I mean, this is just silly. In a keynote address on Sunday, the African National Congress's Secretary General Fikile Mbalula addressed concerns regarding threats to Africa's sovereignty, highlighting issues such as foreign interference, neocolonialism, and digital imperialism. They just make this crap up every time you turn around. We reject all forms of foreign interference, neocolonialism, and digital imperialism and assert our collective right to shape our development on African terms. I'm sorry, what about the neocolonialist activity of the African National Congress in sending its military into the Central African Republic, interfering with affairs there, tromping around in Cote d'Ivoire, messing up peace negotiations there, invading Comoros 3 times, invading Lesotho twice, sending troops to the DRC? What about Namibia and Zimbabwe sending combat troops to the DRC 20 years ago to steal minerals? Wouldn't that be neocolonialism? Wouldn't that be imperialism? Wouldn't that be foreign interference? Or I guess that's not foreign because they're from Africa? Get your heads out of your backside here, folks. Absolutely ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous. This is the sort of nonsense that people still push all over. And this is why people wallow in misery and fail. Instead of focusing on merit and putting money in education and stopping these sick, perverted pedos from preying on 12 and 13-year-old girls in schools in KwaZulu-Natal who make them sleep with them in order to get their grades, instead of focusing on that sickness and making sure these girls get a legitimate education where they're not preyed upon by sexual predators, and dumbing down the educational standards to 30% as a passing mark for school. What kind of idiot thinks that getting 30% in any subject is a passing mark? Can you imagine the engineer who builds your bridge? The air traffic control who controls the flights? So what'd you get in math? 46? That's not a passing mark. That's a shameful mark. 70% is the minimum passing mark. But that's the standards the ANC has created in South Africa. Instead of uplifting people, they've lowered the standards for everybody, and they've destroyed the country. And see this ridiculous, dictators club of corrupt African governments get together and whine about neocolonialism. How about your nepotism, your kleptocracy, your patronage? It's time you take responsibility for your own failures. It isn't other people's fault that you failed after 60 years of independence. We succeeded days after our independence. We're not bellyaching about England anymore. Well, most of the time we don't bellyache about them. Anyway, it's time to grow up and stop this nonsense. If these conferences taken place 40 years ago, they would have made sense, but not today. Just bum herp complaining and racism. Knock it off.